Our citizens, our world today is actually, despite ISIL, despite the visible killings that you see and how horrific they are, we are actually living in a period of less daily threat to Americans and to people in the world than normally, less deaths, less violent deaths today than through the last century.
I gotta tell you, I really can't. I really can't. Less deaths than through the last century? Is he counting? What is he? Is he counting revolutions? Is he counting world wars? What is he counting? This man is incredible. Joining us now, and it has been so long since I've said hello to Pete Hoekstra, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and former Republican congressman from the great state of Michigan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine, thanks. Good to be with you.
Well, it's always good to have you. All right, let's first talk, before we get to that, let's talk about the DHS funding. You know what? The Republicans, all you hear from CNN and the others are, look at this, it's a circus. They don't know how to govern, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? It is a circus. Boehner has created a circus. McConnell has created a circus. It's their own fault. They should have stuck to their guns and said simply this: the president wants us to fund an illegal, as determined by a court last week, executive order that the polls show the American people don't want. We're not going to do it. Let him take that out of Homeland Security funding and we'll pass it. But they can't even talk like that.
You're right. I mean, the issue here is not about the Department of Homeland Security funding. That's what the debate has been about. As long as the debate is about Department of Homeland Security funding, Republicans lose. If it's about immigration and the president's decisions that he's made regarding immigration, that he's made unilaterally, the Republicans have at least a shot of winning over the public in that debate, but they'll never win the debate on Homeland Security.
Yeah, so what do you think is going to happen here? I mean, here it is, 4:25 almost Eastern time on Friday. The funding runs out at midnight tonight. Boehner will probably take up this 3-week extension, and then what does that mean? Then 3 weeks later he's going to put his foot down? No, he'll never put his foot down.
Well, they're not having an honest debate. There's a couple of things that people don't realize here. Number one, if funding for the Department of Homeland Security stops at midnight tonight, guess what? Probably, I don't know what the exact percentage is, 70, 80, 90% of the department will keep functioning because they will be defined as essential services. So the Department of Homeland Security will not stop operating. TSA will keep working. The border security will keep working, and all of those types of things. But I think that before they go home this weekend, sometime this weekend, they will pass most likely the 3-week extension, and this debate will continue on for 3 more weeks. It all represents the total dysfunction in Washington on both the Republican and the Democrat side of the aisle. The people that suffer are the American people.
All right, let's talk about what we have learned now. I mean, we could have guessed it. We pretty much knew it, but now we have the email proof that the State Department, all of Hillary's people, all of them, knew as Benghazi, the attack was happening on the embassy. They knew that Ansar al-Sharia claimed responsibility for that attack. They knew it was a terrorist attack, yet Hillary's excuse immediately was that it was a video, and we know what happened. They made her and Obama made a video apologizing for the video. They claimed to the parents of the dead as they returned home, she looked them in the eye and said, we're going to get the guy who made the video. So, I mean, when does it end for Hillary? How could she even... I mean, I know because there's a willing media, I guess, but how could she escape everything that we know?
I'm not sure exactly how this is going to play out. You've got the story of Benghazi. That's one story. There's another story, though, in Libya that I think is very instructive, both in terms of the president and Secretary Clinton's foreign policy. And that's what happened in Libya from 2010, 2011 to today. The decision, not in Benghazi, but the decision to remove Gaddafi and then to leave the country has been an ill-fated decision and has now created an environment where Libya poses a threat to much of Africa, to the Middle East, and most importantly to the soft underbelly of Europe. And so, there needs to be a discussion and a focus on Benghazi, but also on the bigger picture so that we have a better idea as to how we're going to move forward, confront and defeat ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it.
Right, and of course we have audio tape uncovered of State Department and Dennis Kucinich talking to the Gaddafi's son. They didn't trust Hillary. They thought she was manufacturing the reason to overthrow Gaddafi, making false claims about mass murder of his own citizens. And you're right. Now we basically handed over and enabled ISIS to have Libya, correct?
That's something that the West is going to be held very much accountable for. Libya, and I'm working on a book on this, and I've written on this, or will have the book out extensively on this. When we met with Gaddafi in 2004, I met with Gaddafi 3 other times. He had a clamp on Libya. He committed some terrible atrocities, but he was willing to become an ally of the United States because he recognized that radical jihadists were a threat not only to, really to his survival, and so he was going to do whatever he needed to do to preserve himself, and that meant aligning himself with the West.
Yep, it sounds a little bit like the scenario Mubarak and elsewhere that this administration just really seems to favor the worst scenario. Hey, Congressman, have a great weekend, sir. We'll speak to you soon. We're coming next, folks, with Walter E. Williams.
We all have had our own perceptions about yoga. For some, it sounds hippie-ish or something their kid would do, but to others, it's a way of life. Perceptions are not reality, and yoga, no matter what your age, has many medical benefits.
You're never too old to start yoga. It's better to start now than to never start at all. And when you start now and you start to gain your practice, you'll become more comfortable when you start doing your yoga practice, and you'll find your path. So there's all different types of yoga, and whatever you're looking for, whether it's gaining flexibility, to de-stressing, to moving from a centered place, or even gaining muscle tone. There's so many benefits to it.
Go at your own pace. Yoga can be done in a comfortable sitting position, standing up, or lying down. With the slow, gentle movements of yoga, you're able to stimulate and relax every part of the body and alleviate muscle and joint pain. There are also poses designed to improve your digestive system.